How are you going to pass that exam? You're going to prep with Wild Lillie Handy of YouTube AgentPrep. All right, so this is what we're getting started with today. And so this is the practice test for Texas real estate exam. Of course, this applies to all 50 states. So don't get nervous that it says Texas. So we review national real estate questions first half of the class and Texas state questions on the second half. So if you only need national, then you may leave after the national session and come back for those that want to do Texas state. All right, so get ready for a morning of reviewing questions to get you to pass your exams, right? Yes, that's what you're here for. Okay, number 16. Okay, I'm clicking away. I got multiple screens here, y'all. Not to worry, we're getting going. All right, what is the name given to the breakdown of an individual's credit history? A, credit assessment, B, credit report, C, financial record, or D, repayment report? Type your answer in the chat. All right, the answer here is 16B, your credit report. And that is very important in order to purchase a home, cars, anything that you want to purchase. They ask for your credit report. Now, that's not the only way you can buy, right? There's always owner financing and other methods. Good morning. Number 17. What is another term used to describe ownership? Hey, Lisbeth, good morning. A, credit, B, equity, C, liability, or D, shares? What is another term used to describe ownership? So when you own a part of the property or you've had a loan and you've paid it down some, the difference between the market value and what you own is called what? That's right, 17B, equity. So that's the difference between the current value and the balance on the loan. Okay. Awesome. Oh, didn't show the answers. Number 18. Let's see if that's going to work. Nope, that's not going to work. So let's make it smaller. All right, number 18. What is the notice filed against a borrower on missing the repayment deadline? Good morning, Cindy. A, notice of cessation. B, notice to cure. C, notice of default, or notice of intention. What's that called when a borrower misses their deadline? They're in default. And yes, 18C, notice of default. Very good. Right, so that is described in the mortgage note, on the mortgage or on the deed of trust. Number 19. What is the name given to describe the period a lender must keep a loan offer open to the borrower? A, due diligence period, B, loan repayment period, C, lock-in period, or D, target hold period? So it's a period a lender must keep a loan offer. So loans, credit approval, pre-approvals are given a deadline. Okay, so because why? A person's credit could change. They could go and spend money. And that'll impact their credit score. No, what is the name given to describe the period a lender must keep a loan offer open to the borrower is called C, lock-in period. Okay, lock-in period. So they end up locking the rate and let's say give them a deadline that, okay, this loan pre-approval is good for 3 months, 6 months. And they don't want to do it for very long because individuals can go and mess up their credit by spending money. Got it? All right, number 20. Okay, so did I show the answer? Yes, number 20. Which of the following is a lease break? A, when a tenant breaks a rent prior to the date of expiry without a legal reason. B, when a tenant terminates a contract once a lease has expired. Or D, when a tenant breaks a lease with the agreement of the landlord. Or D, when a landlord allows a tenant to sublease their residence. Which one is a break in the lease, a lease break? So the answer here is A. Okay. When a tenant breaks a rent prior to the date of expiring without a legal reason. Okay. So then they're in default of the lease because it's got to go month to month and then give the owner or the landlord a notice. So to avoid legal action, the individual breaking the lease must prove beyond reasonable doubt that the break was caused by a situation completely out of their hands. Oh, very good. So let's see who else is here. All right, number 21. What is the term used? What is the term used to refer to a situation where the amount of funds required to meet an obligation are not available? A, breakdown. A, buy down. B, debt to income ratio. C, escrow. Or D, shortfall. When a term used to refer to a situation where the amount of funds required to meet an obligation are not available. Yes, the answer is 21D, right? It's called a shortfall. So a shortfall term is used to describe a situation where a financial obligation exceeds the required amount of cash available in the bank or, whatever they're using, 401k. A shortfall might be temporary and current situations or a prolonged one. The latter represents mismanagement of funds and warrants a deeper look into spending habits, and change has to be implemented, right? We want to buy something expensive, we've got to prove that we can do it and save that money. Okay, number 22. What is the term used to describe a situation where taxes are reduced or completely scrapped to increase buyers in the market? A, tax abatement, B, tax exemption, C, tax evasion, or D, duty-free? Where taxes are reduced or completely scrapped. Almost typed the wrong answer. The answer here is tax abatement. Okay. The abatement is a strategy used by the government to increase investments in specific areas. In the real estate sector, tax abatement occurs when taxes on properties are significantly reduced or completely eliminated. It is usually done to encourage investors to buy properties in areas that have been recorded long-term low demand. So where they'll go and buy old properties and remodel, and that's to get the economy going. So tax abatement. Number 23. A property originally assessed at $500,000 appreciated at 4% the first year, then 5% the year after. What is the current value? Okay, so we use a T formula. So it assessed at $500,000 originally. So that's the whole number. Then it appreciated 4% and then 5% the year after. So it's a two-process step calculation, right? So is it A, 525, B, 545, C, 546, or D, none of the above? Right, so we need to multiply by, you can do it different ways. So with the T formula, you've got a blank on top, and then on the bottom, 500,000 times, since it's appreciated, it's 100 plus 4%. So you multiply it by 1.04 and then times 1.05 because it continues to increase. So 4% the first year of 500,000, right, is what? 20,000. So you add that to 500. That's another way to do it. And then 520,000 times 5%, okay, will give us an answer of 546. Very good, Cindy. So you can do it in one math calculation, but you're multiplying by 0.4 and then by 0.5. So I'm sorry, 1.04 and times 1.05 because it is increasing, it is appreciating. That's a good appreciation. Average in certain states can be 3 to 5% a year, and others, when the market is really hot, that can even increase 20% to 25%. Number 24, which entity performs the percolation test? A, Department of State, B, Building Inspector, C, Homeowners Association, or D, Department of Health? So we've got 24D, that's correct, Department of Health. Awesome. Moving right along. Whoa, can't seem to get this right here. All right, number 25. If a property is taxed at 25% with a tax levy of $992,000, what is its assessed value? So A, 65,000, B, 115,000, C, 122,666, or D, 368. So it is taxed at 25% with a tax levy at 92,000. So the original value has to be a lot greater. So it has to be quite a bit larger so that you tax, the property is taxed and it has a $92,000 tax, right? So what is 92 from? Something that is taxed. So you're using the T formula here, okay? So the top is the 92,000, the bottom is 0.25%, and then of course multiplying it by X, which is what we're looking for. So it would be 92,000 divided by 0.25, right, on the T formula. And that'll give us an answer of D, 368. So learn that T formula for math calculations. It's used a lot. Number 26. What is the name given to a brief summary of the history of a title? So A, abstract of title, C, chain of titles, C, deed chain, or D, history of deed. What is the name given to a brief summary? So the title history. And yes, 26A is the correct answer. Abstract of title. That is the summary. We'll receive that after a contract is submitted to a title company, because title companies provide title insurance. So they search the chain of title and then provide an abstract of title, which we refer to it once you get into the real world. A title commitment is delivered to both sellers and buyers, and we get permission to also review it. So, yeah. All right, number 27. What material is used in construction to cover joints where two or more types of materials meet? A, flashing, B, metal, C, wood, or D, joint. So you have two different types of metals, okay? Think about the roof or, somewhere else within the house. Material used in construction to cover joints where two or more types of materials meet. It's not something commonly you would think of. However, you will learn it in the real world. It's actually A. It's called flashing. This is a material used to cover joints where two or more type of materials join. This usually happens to prevent water leakage through the joint. You'll see this on roofs. You'll see the composite roof tiles, and typically with composite roofs, And then you'll see this shiny silver metal that is used over to prevent any leakage in the joints of the composite roof or shingles, okay, composite shingles. So it provides a drainage between the joints. What was that, 27? Okay, so I lost my place here. 27A, right? Flashing. Hi, Franklin. Thanks for joining. We're reviewing national questions right now. That applies to all 50 states. Number 28. What is the lowest section of the roof that overhangs beyond the sidewalls of the building? A, eaves, B, joists, C, studs, or D, shingles? Okay, I just mentioned the word shingles, right? So it's not shingles. So look at the roof, you know, the framing on top of the roof, right below it. It's an area that allows air circulation into the attic. So yes, Cindy and Lisbeth, it is 28A. Very good. It is the eaves. Okay, this is the part of the roof. So as you're seeing the roof, this section right here. So the roof goes up, okay, the other way, right, goes up this way. And then down here will be the eave. So there's circulation and air that goes through there. And it channels water, okay, away from the roof. Very good. 29. Which real estate metric is found by dividing cash flow by the deposit and settlement costs? A, cash out, B, cash on return, C, lock-in period, or D, loan to value ratio. So it is the real estate metric found in dividing cash flow by the deposit and settlement costs. So the cash flow divided, so found by dividing cash flow, money going through, by the deposit and settlement. That is called cash and or cash on cash return. So cash on cash return, that a proven metric used, so relating to some type of measurement, right? A metric system used to calculate future cash returns on a cash investment. This metric is only true for a cash investment, does not take into account loan investment. All right, very good. Number 30. Which board committee is responsible for maintaining the aesthetic view of a town? Yes. Hi, Franklin. Yes, this is the first time I see you on here, so great that you're joining us. A, Architectural Review Board, B, Federal Government, C, Municipality, or D, HOA. So which board committee is responsible for maintaining the aesthetics view of a town? The Architectural Review Board, Federal Government, Municipality, or the HOA? No, look at the keyword, aesthetic view of a town, not of a subdivision. If it was the aesthetic view of a subdivision, yes, it would be HOA. However, the key word here is view of a town. Okay, so that one is going to be 30A, Architectural Review Board. They want to make sure that, it all looks nice. It's consistent. So that's the architecture of all the homes, right? An architect is hired in order to create the building plan or the blueprint for any new home, right? So that's a little key word there that makes the difference. Pay attention to those little key words. So view of a town. If it had said view of the subdivision, then it would be HOA. $31. Oh, let me show the answer. What type of lease is taken on a loft? A, net lease, B, gross lease, C, percentage lease, or D, proprietary lease. A loft. So you need to know what is a loft. Right? So the answer here is a gross lease. Okay, a gross lease. Oops. So a gross lease is including everything, right? Just like you get your paycheck, you have the gross amount that you get from your salary, and then they deduct the expenses. So a gross lease is a lease where a flat fee is paid. It includes rent and other utility fees such as taxes and insurance. A landlord is obligated to calculate rate based on history or research. A negotiation between the tenant and the landlord can also be reached on the services the tenant wants to be included in the lease. So gross, it includes, okay, like it says, property taxes, insurance, and utilities, but it is always negotiable. So what did some say? B, D, no, proprietary lease, you're going to be dealing with a company there. Or not necessarily. What are we on? 32. Oops, that didn't work. Okay, 32. What clause can prohibit having loud parties? A, house rules, B, regulations, C, lease terms, or D, noise permit? A clause can prohibit having loud parties, right? So this could be what, in a lease or, some type of rental or hotel. So who said good morning on Facebook? Okay, who said good morning? So who is this person here? I can't see a name anywhere on Facebook, YouTube, nor. So you can go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and let us see your name. StreamYard.com/Facebook and give StreamYard permission, okay, to see your name. So you can quickly go to this website and give StreamYard permission. So let us see your name instead of seeing just Facebook. You're going to see, like Lisbeth here. Okay, so number 32 is house rules. That is correct, house rules. How come I can't see who made a comment? Yeah, so I can't see it. So you're on Facebook. All right, so the answer here was house rules, okay? All right, number 33. What is the measurement used to show the volatility of a market? A, fluctuation rate, B, absorption rate, C, inflation, or D, purchase deviation. So it's how, the supply and demand and how properties are sold, how quickly, how slowly. It gives us a value, a rate. And yes, that is called the absorption rate. Awesome. $34. What is the mortgage clause that allows the lender the right to demand immediate payment of a mortgage? A, cancellation clause, B, acceleration clause, C, prepayment penalty clause, or D, release clause? Awesome. Lisbeth is on the ball here. The acceleration clause. Very good. Right, the lender can put the metal to the pedal. Right? So it's included in the deed of trust or the mortgage explanation as to what the lender can do if somebody is late or in default. Okay, number 35. Did I show the? Can you see mine? No, I cannot see yours. I see you as Facebook user. So I'm not sure who that is because I don't see your name. See, if you're on Facebook, it'll show me your name, but I don't see your name. So not sure who this is. Type it in here in the chat box. All right, number 35. Oh, so Franklin. Okay, so I see Franklin here. So you are this person, Facebook user? Because you do show up on the business page for Facebook as Franklin. And so I don't know why this one is showing this way. Yes, I can see you, Franklin. Yes, we can see you. Thanks. All right, number 35. Which agreement allows a property holder to cross another person's land? A, easement appurtenance, C, easement and grows, C, prescriptive easement, or D, none of the above. Allows a property holder to cross another person's land. This is easement in pertinent. Easement appurtenant. It's attached to the land. Yes, Rosaura, we can see your name. How you doing? So the answer is easement appurtenant. It goes with the land. It's attached to a land and they get to use somebody else's part of the land, like the driveway or a well or a septic. They have a joint agreement and it's a recorded easement. Says, so when a property is transferred through the sale of inheritance, all rights and privileges attached to the land are automatically transferred to the new owner. Easement and grows does not transfer. That is per individual. All right, number 36. That's probably not going to work either. Okay. 36. Which of the following is insurance taken out as a protective against malfunctions associated with the acquisition of a new home? A, flood insurance. B, homeowner's warranty insurance. C, HO2, water, right? D, hazard insurance. So it's insurance taken out as a protection against malfunctions associated with a new home. Okay. Buying a new home that's never been lived in and it's a brand new construction. So builders will, multiple home builders, okay, that build lots of homes and subdivisions will provide this. Not all builders will. Yes, it's the homeowner's warranty insurance. Okay, that is provided by the builder. Oh, I forgot to post 35. $36. Okay, so there's also home warranty. Okay, and that is a different type of warranty that an owner can buy for their house for their appliances that end up malfunctioning. Okay, appliances, electric, plumbing, things like that inside the house. But this homeowner's warranty insurance is for new homes. Okay, provided by builders. So did I show it? Let's see if this will, I went too big. 37. Thank you for your patience with me, okay? So what is it called when someone takes possession of a property without being the actual title holder? Okay, A, acceleration clause, B, adverse possession, C, easement, or D, escheat. Vocabulary, 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 right? So 37 is B, right? Adverse possession. I mean, there are conditions and time limits that have to be met. It's not that easy to take over somebody else's piece of land. It can take 10 years of them maintaining it, utilizing it, and showing proof that they have been taking care of it. Sometimes they'll pay the taxes. And if the owner never says anything and says, hey, man, this is pretty cool, I'm, utilizing this. Well, unfortunately, they're not aware that that person is pretty savvy and can take over that land. 38. What is a non-possessory interest in property or restrictive covenant burdening the title? A, adverse possession, B, easement, C, encumbrance, or D, escheat. Something attached to the title, non-possessory interest. So they don't possess it, okay? They're not using it. However, they attach something to it. Oh my gosh, I was going to type the wrong answer. Yes, 38C, encumbrance, right? That is a lien, a judgment. That is a mortgage, something that is attached to the title and it burdens it. It creates a cloud on title and has to be cleared in order to be able to convey to someone else, to the new buyer. Dang it. $39. What is the name given to the long beams that span the piers of a foundation, offering support to the floor or ceiling? A, eaves, B, frame, C, joists, or D, studs? The name given to long beams, okay, long beams that span the piers of a foundation, right? The bottom of the foundation. piers are, it can be blocks, it can be bricks, it can be, you know, something that holds the house. So 39 is joist. 39C, joist. No, the eaves was on the roof. Remember, y'all? We just covered that one. So remember, when you're doing the exam, if you don't know a question, you can click it for review. However, your state does the test. But when I took it, it was computerized. And so I could click questions for review that I didn't know. And a past question or a future question can help you. So these were joists. Okay, joists, they are horizontal structure members, okay, used to frame an open space. They are often used in transferring leads to the vertical members of the structure. And they can be on piers, blocks, okay? A lot of old houses had space under them, right, that we could crawl and take care of plumbing and electrical and other things like that. But at certain times, they had to be leveled because the ground would settle. Much easier to level those types of homes compared to today that they're on a concrete foundation. So they're horizontal beams, right, that sit on top of piers, blocks. Number 40. What conveys a grantor's interest in real property, right? Convey to somebody else. A, agreement. B, conveyance. C, offering the loan. Or D, title. What conveys a grantor, the owner, interest in real property, real estate? How do they convey it? What is it called? Major keyword. So when the property is sold, the owner signs a deed, which then is considered the conveyance. So it is the conveyance. Okay. So a conveyance or sale deed is a legally binding contract that transfers all ownership rights from the seller to the buyer. So the seller signs the deed, right? It usually states the agreed on price, the date of the transaction, and the obligation of the parties involved. So that's conveying, transferring it from the owner to the borrower. There's different things, of course, that take place. And one of them is the owner has to sign the deed. And only the grantor signs the deed, right? Who's the grantor? The owner, the seller. Also considered a principal, right? Okay, so that's the end of our national questions. So take a moment and break as I shift to our Texas state questions, okay? And anyone watching the replay, just fast forward. What was, oh, I moved the page. All right. So I'm changing books. I'm going to a book that, that we have used. Okay, so the actual book that we're using next, okay, is this one here, which we've done questions and answers on each test. So today we're doing part of the actual license examination sample. We're going to do the state questions, okay? So let me get myself prepared here. Bear with me for a moment. I've got to transition things around. So, oh, that didn't work. We're starting with question 75. So on this final exam, it starts with national questions at the beginning, and it's the first 75 are national questions. And then also the state questions start at question, actually number 76, right there. So hold on here. Page what? Why didn't that work? Go to oh, I see what I did wrong here. Okay, this is not working the way it's supposed to be. So bear with me, you guys, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I've got to change books here. Nope, not that book either. I'll get it together in just a moment, okay? Yeah, I know this is this is taking a while. Okay. All right. I think I finally got it. You know, I've got to get the answer key because I also screw up at times. All right. So get ready for Texas state questions. And thank you for bearing with me. Anybody that was watching online, the replay, hey, fast forward. So number 76. Texas state questions. This is a long one, right? Okay, there we go. Finally. Thank you, Lisbeth. I appreciate it. I know. All right. Number 76. Which of the following best describes the purpose of the Texas real estate license law? A, to promote the integrity and honesty of the general public in real estate transactions. B, to institute operable relationships between real estate licensees and their clients. C, to protect the public and to promote licensee competence, or D, to ensure brokers exercise care and skill in developing regulations for their practices. So the purpose of Texas real estate law. Right? So it's typically what? To protect the consumer, right? So the answer here is C, to protect the public and promote license competence. So that's why we're required to take more courses for continuing education, our CE classes, because a lot of times individuals don't learn, okay, how to protect and take care of clients. So we have to be competent. So when somebody asks, why do I have to learn so much? Hey, you're dealing with individuals' lives, right? And it's a major purchase or sale. And that's our responsibility to take care of them and protect their interest and know our business. Number 77. Which of the following is a bona fide characteristic of TREC's disciplinary procedures? A, TREC issues a notice of violation and penalty to a licensee once it has concluded that a violation has occurred. Thereafter, the violator has 60 days to request a hearing. B, if a suspension is imminent, the licensee is entitled to a hearing conducted by the TREC Judiciary Committee. C, complaints are always investigated in the initial evidence warrants reasonable cause. Or D, complaints may be investigated whether the complaint is identified or remains anonymous. Well, it can't be anonymous, okay? There has to be proof. And there are certain steps that TREC takes. So the answer here is C, okay? Complaints are always investigated if the initial evidence warrants reasonable cause. So first they have to have reasonable cause before investigating it. They're not going to just investigate every single complaint, because some complaints will not be valid. A lot of individuals are sue happy and believe that they are always right, okay? Not the case. Number 78. See if I can get it on the neck. There we go. Ah! How quickly the slider moves. All right, number 78. So number 77 was C. 78. Which of the following is not a brokerage activity requiring licensure? A, auctioning real estate. B, offering to exchange real estate. C, selling an option to a buyer that the buyer refuses. Or D, advertising one's principal residence for sale. So not a brokerage activity requiring licensure. It is not A. Franklin, for answer to your question on the previous question, yeah, they have to show proof, okay? It's not going to be just verbal. So number 78 is actually D, advertising one's principal residence for sale. We don't need a license for that. So an individual can have for sale by owner, right? They can sell, for sale by owners can sell their own home. Now, if we're a realtor selling our own property, yeah, we need to advertise that we're a realtor. But not a brokerage activity would be someone selling their own personal residence or their own investment. Okay. There are lots of individuals that believe they can sell their own home, and some do extremely well, others do not. That's why there are professionals like us, realtors, to help them. That's our expertise. You know, they go to a doctor to get exams, they go to a dentist, they go to an attorney. They are professional in their field, right? Individuals don't know every different area that requires help. So that's why we are licensed to help them and be knowledgeable instead of trying to do everything. All right, number 79. Which of the following parties does not have a real estate license to operate legally? A hostess at an open house who explains how the property's price was identified. B, answering services who confirm the terms of advertised property. C, an operator of a real estate rental agency. Or D, a person who supervises licensees. So which of the following parties does not have to have a real estate license to operate legally? And so here, you know, they're referring to, it could be assistants or for sale by owner. So the answer for 79 is B. So you answering services who confirm the terms of advertising property. So, you know, nowadays we have lots and lots of answering services, right? And they're not licensed. So all they do is answer phone calls and answer questions. So answering services, okay, do not have to have a real estate license to operate. Telephone answering service, you know, right? Telephones. So many of them nowadays. Well, they've been around for a long time, but even more so now. So Franklin says, so Franklin had asked, oh gosh, do you need proof? Okay. And that was on a prior question. And that's when Trek is investigating a complaint. You know, are they going to spend much time investigating every single little complaint? No, they need proof. And then he says, yes, I need help. Yeah, we all need help in one way or another. So I'm assuming you need help to pass your exam. So 79B, right? Okay, number 80. Which of the following is true regarding licensure procurement in Texas? Okay, procurement, buying, right? Who procures the buyer or the property? What is true? A, the applicant must be 18 years old and a U.S. citizen. B, active or veteran military personnel must meet education requirements but are exempted from passing the exam. C, an applicant need not be a U.S. citizen. D, applications are terminated if all requirements are not completed within 6 months of the filing date. So which one is true? Okay, we actually have 12 months, right? So it's not D. And we do have to be citizens. So 80. A, the applicant must be 18 years old and a U.S. citizen. Okay. 80 A. Very good. So not only that, they have to complete the 180 hours in Texas, not just be 18 years old and pass the other tests, right? Background check and honesty and trustworthy. Dang, where's 81? All right, that's not working. So I'm going to minimize the screen and try to do it this way. God, that's a long question. Okay, 81. What is the Texas Continuing Education CE requirement in the subsequent renewal period following completion of the post-license requirement? A, 6 hours of salesperson and 15 hours for broker. B, 9 hours for salesperson, 15 hours for brokers. C, 15 hours for brokers and salesperson, including a 3-hour broker responsibility course. Or D, 18 hours of both salesperson and brokers, including 4 hours of legal updates and 4 hours of ethics. And it's actually 8 hours of legal update. There's legal update 1 and 2. The ethics alternates every couple of years. So number 81, right? And everybody takes the same amount, broker and realtor, sales agent. So 81 is D, 18 hours for both realtors and salespersons and brokers agent, including 4 hours of legal update 1 and 4 hours of legal update 2, and then every other year 4 hours of ethics. So that was 81D. All right. Number 82. Very good, y'all. No, it wasn't 81A, Rosaura. Let's see. Why did you answer 81A? No. It's 18 hours of continuing education. 18. Which of the following is a violation of license law? A, disclosing confidential information. B, having one broker compensate a licensed party for a referral after the closing has occurred. C, informing a buyer that the seller client will take a 95% offer even if authorized by the seller. D, a sponsoring broker paying a licensed applicant a referral fee. Which one is a violation of law, of license law? A violation of law. Okay, we may think that it is A. However, there is a better answer, which is sponsoring broker paying a licensed applicant a referral fee. So we can only pay referrals to licensed realtors, right? To licensed individuals, not a licensed applicant. Okay, the licensed applicant is just applying to get their license. So let's see what the answer says. Licensee may not compensate unlicensed parties, even those who are waiting to receive a license. That is a licensed applicant. One can disclose confidential information if it originates from a non-client and serves the client's best interest. A sales agent can disclose a price beneath the list price if specifically authorized. So as long as it's in writing, then we can disclose. And then the disclosing of confidential information is if it is not a non-client, okay? Close confidential if originates from a non-client. So we're giving it to a customer and we're not representing the other party, the seller, okay? So anything that we know, we can disclose. So 82T. So keyword here, okay, was license applicant. An application cannot do that. Number 83. So 82 was D. A sales agent becomes aware, of a material defect in property septic field. Disclosing this fact would be detrimental to the client's interest. What should the agent do? So sales agent becomes aware of a material defect in a property septic field. Disclosing this fact would be detrimental to the client's interest. What should the agent do? A, inform the seller that it would be preferable to include the septic field issue in the property condition report. B, disclose the defect since it is a material fact concerning the property's condition. C, conceal the defect since it violates the agent's fiduciary duty of promoting the client's best interest. Or D, conceal the defect since it is something that an agent would not normally know about. So what do we have to do for a material defect? Right, we must disclose. Okay, we must disclose the defect since it is a material fact concerning the property's condition. Whether the seller likes it or not, and it's not disclosed on their seller's disclosure notice, we must disclose it. When we're aware of it, we disclose it. We're not experts, but we can visually see it. Therefore, we can disclose it. Or we should disclose it, not we can. Okay, number 11. So that was 83B. Disclose, disclose, disclose. 84. Which of the following is a required disclosure to be completed in writing prior to closing? A required disclosure to be completed in writing prior to closing. A, that the buyer is well advised to obtain an appraisal prior to the closing. B, that the seller should obtain an inspection. C, that the buyer should have an attorney examine the title abstract or get title insurance. Or D, that the buyer should obtain a pre-approval for a loan sufficient in amount to qualify for a given price range. So this is required disclosure completed in writing prior to closing. Okay, just prior to closing. And remember to type the question number and the letter answer when commenting. The answer here, okay, for 84 is C, that the buyer should have an attorney examine the title abstract or get title insurance. And that should be done prior to closing. So that is something that we can disclose. And see, the A says that the buyer is well advised to obtain appraisal prior to closing. Well, the lender will advise the seller of that, the buyer of that the seller should obtain an inspection. No, it's typically the buyer that we want to inform and that to get a home inspection. And D, sometimes we do advise the seller. However, we advise the buyer, okay, to get a home inspection to know what they're buying. And this happens at the beginning, right after the contract is executed during the option period. And then that the buyer should obtain pre-approval. Well, that should happen way, way before closing, okay? Before we start looking at properties. Not just before we close. By then, the seller's going to say, well, how do I know they were a good buyer? And now they put the property off the market and they're waiting and waiting. And now the buyer doesn't qualify, doesn't get an approval. Wow, bad time. Bad timing, not then. What's the saying we have? Ready, willing, and able buyer. Okay, they're ready. They've been pre-approved. They're willing. They want to buy now. Ready, willing, and able, and they're financially also able to buy. Number 85. So 84 with C. Which of the following is a listing requirement? without which subjects licensees to license suspension. Okay. A listing requirement that without it subjects licensee to a license suspension. Okay, a lot of licenses. A, specification of a termination date. B, a complete legal description. C, the specific financial penalty for failure to complete a sale. Or D, the licensee's marketing plan. A listing requirement. Okay, what do listings have to be a valid listing? Actually, it's all agreements, okay, have to have. The answer here is, yes, very good, Cindy and Lisbeth. A specification of a termination date. Okay, requirements, agreements all have a start and end date. Very good, very good, very good. Oops. Number 86. Oh man, it doesn't show up on the whole page. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So much adjustment. '86. Question. What's your question, Donaldson, Franklin? So does it have to do with that specification of a termination date? All listing agreements are contracts, buyer rep agreements. They all have a start date and an end date. So I'm not sure about which question. Okay, 86. TREC makes a payment from the recovery fund to satisfy a judgment against a licensee. Which of the following applies? A, TREC must make a one-time increase in fees to licensees to recoup the deficit caused by the payment. B, TREC may revoke the licensee's license until he or she makes a complete repayment with interest. C, the licensee's license is canceled for 3 years. Or D, the licensee must refund the recovery account within 90 days or have his or her license revoked. Oh, I see, Franklin. He said, I didn't know the answer. That's all right. Sometimes I don't either. That's why it's good to have a answer list, right? Answer checklist. So 86, okay. What is the recovery fund for? All right, no answers. Okay, so it is not D. Oops, I forgot to type that answer in. The answer is actually B. TREC may revoke the licensee's license until he or she makes a complete payment with interest. Right, because that is money that has to be recouped, because that recovery fund is used, right, to pay complaints, individuals, civilians that win the case on a complaint for a realtor, a broker, salesperson, sales agent. E&O is what protects us from, error and omissions. And a lot of times my understanding is errors and omission attorneys will negotiate a settlement instead of going to court. So when there are damages, TREC will pay the civilian or the complainant, okay, the damages, and the realtor, salesperson, broker must return that money with interest. Number 87. There are numerous requirements associated with managing a trust account, right? A trust account. Okay. Which of the following is not a requirement? A, the account need not be identified as a trust account. B, earned commissions must be withdrawn within 30 days of when they became earned. C, all withdrawals must be documented. Or D, the broker may keep an amount of non-trust fund monies in the account to cover bank fees. Okay, so a trust account. Which one is a true statement? Does it have to be identified as a trust account? And is earned commission must be withdrawn within 30 days? All withdrawals must be documented. I mean, those are true. So which one is not a requirement? Three of them are true and one of them is not. The answer here is 87A. It doesn't have to be a trust account as long as it is a separate account and no commingling is done. And title companies or attorneys that are escrow officers are now the ones that take the earnest money and option fees, okay, and keep them there until the transaction is ready to close. And if anyone cancels, terminates a transaction, have to sign a release of earnest money that both have to sign. If they don't agree, money stays in la la land in the title company or the attorney's office, whoever is the escrow officer. Number 88. So any questions? I don't see any questions so far. I've got 3 monitors that I'm looking at. Okay, so you see me looking around. It's because I've got so many monitors and I plan to get another one. So I have one big one in the middle. Okay, so no questions. And hey, just a reminder, anybody that's on YouTube, hey, click that like button, okay, and give me some support and love that this is beneficial to you, that is helping you out. And if you've never been to my YouTube Agent Prep channel, please go over there, click the thumbs up, okay, that you like it, the subscribe button, okay, and also the little bell so that you get notified every time I go live or upload a new video, right? It helps the algorithm, the analytics, it helps my channel grow and lets YouTube know that people like, that individuals like watching my videos, and it'll help me grow. My goal was to have 1,000 subscribers by the end of June. It didn't quite happen, but I got up to 865. So pretty soon I'll be at 1,000. So thank you all. So anybody who's watching there, click that thumbs up. Okay, send me some love. And if you're not there, go after class and tap that subscribe button. All right, number 88. Real estate advertising must not be deceptive. Which of the following would be considered an unacceptably deceptive advertising or practice? A, for sale advertisement continue to run for 5 days after the closing. B, a licensee advertises another agent's listing without mentioning the listing agent's name. C, an ad states that a property's use is agriculture even though there is no farm on the property. And D, an ad promotes an office to be under new management when in fact the new manager has been there over a month. So type your answer in the chat. Oops. Gosh. 88, looking small. So 88 is B. A licensee advertises another agent's listing without mentioning the listing agent's name. So we have to get permission to list somebody else, to advertise somebody else's property, especially, you know, open houses, marketing, Craigslist, marketplace, wherever. If they are in with our own company, like at EXP, we have permission to advertise anyone that is under EXP that has a listing. So we don't have to have that permission. That's a big plus for us. But when we're advertising somebody else's listing, we have to acknowledge them. And you'll see on advertisements like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, and all the different websites, it'll say listing by, so-and-so. The listing agent has to be given credit. Okay, number 89. Which of the following best describes an intermediary? Okay, intermediary. A dual agent who represents a buyer and a seller regardless of who the broker is. B, an agent who represents a buyer or a seller in a transaction without fiduciary obligation to the represented party. C, a licensee who facilitates a buyer and seller in consummating a transaction without becoming involved as an agent to either party. Or D, a dual agent within the single brokerage who owes fiduciary duties to both parties. Remember, we are in Texas, okay? So I'm going to get a refill of coffee. Sorry, I still need to wake up. I'll be right back. Type your answer in the chat. This is my wakey time, right? Even though I got up early, but hey, makes me want to dance, excited, and be on here with y'all. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so number 89. Oh, no. The answer is C. So a licensee who facilitates a buyer and seller in consummating a transaction without becoming involved as an agent to either party. So that licensee is the broker, right? They are still called a licensee, right? In Texas, we're not a dual agent, and we don't represent a buyer or a seller without fiduciary obligation. And we're not a dual agent with single brokerage, right? We are a licensee, that is the broker. Okay, don't let that deter you, okay? Because a broker is a licensee who facilitates a buyer and seller in consummating a transaction without involved as an agent to either party. They are the intermediary. They cannot advise or give direction. They help mediate the two, the seller and the buyer. They're like a mediator, right? But they legally represent both because the broker is the one who holds all the contract, all the listings, right? Right. But they cannot advise them. Each realtor is the one who advises the client. Okay, number 90. Okay, so there's a question here. It says, my mother passed away. There was no will, so we have to be both letter of administration and there's a leftover balance. I'm not sure what to do. What you do is go talk to an attorney, okay? Not ask somebody like me or another realtor. This requires an attorney's advice, okay? If there's no will, remember it goes into probate. And the judge assigns an administrator. All right, so time to go to an attorney, a real estate attorney, okay? All right, number 90. Sorry, but I cannot help you with that because I'm not a legalized person. Oh, she was a remaxation. So my condolences on the loss of your mother, Todd. You know, it was a very hard event for me when I lost my mother, and took me years to get over it. And so go talk to an attorney. And so I'm glad you're taking after your mother to be a realtor, and hey, go get the right advice, okay? But again, our condolences. Number 10, and thank you for asking. The central purpose of the information about brokerage services labeled IABS: A, to inform consumers just what it is that agents do to earn their commission. B, to shed light on the advantages or disadvantage of an exclusive listing versus selling or buying without representation. C, to explain to prospects the type of relationship they may choose with licensees and what services they get for each alternative. Or D, to explain to consumers why it is far preferable legally and economically to list with agents and the many ways they can do that successfully. So IABS, okay, it explains to prospects, okay, somebody that we're going to be maybe working with. Okay, it also informs consumers. However, it's not to do to earn their commission. It is to inform prospects the types of relationship they may choose with licensees and what services they get for each alternative. So we can be their listing realtor, their buying realtor, or we can help them with a tenant. Okay, we would be representing them also on the buyer. So the answer here is C. Okay, no, we don't discuss about earning commissions. It's to disclose information on how we do business, what we have to do, and what choices they have. Disclose, right? Hey, Todd, thank you for sharing. Yeah, you've got to wait for the creditors. So C, to explain to prospects the type of relationship they may choose with licensees and what services they get for each alternative. Oh, I forgot to type 89. What was 89? 89 was C. I forgot to type it on Facebook. Okay. At one time I had a Facebook user say, what was the answer? Okay, 90 is C. All right. So 91. There are several requirements for establishing an intermediary. That looks kind of small. Let me see if I can get that larger. That's a little bit larger. Okay. There are several requirements for establishing an intermediary relationship. Which of the following is not a requirement? A, each party to the agreement must give written consent. B, the agreement must stipulate the duty of confidentiality to either buyer or seller. C, how and who will compensate the agent must be set forth. Or D, the duties of the intermediary must be clearly identified. Which one is not a requirement? Be very careful what that agreement specifies. So we must give, written consent, right? And how will they compensate? That's on the listing agreement. And the duties of intermediary when we're representing both sides. So both sides have to agree to the intermediary. The answer here is B. The agreement must stipulate the duty of confidentiality to either buyer or seller. Well, the buyer agent is confidential to the buyer, the seller agent confidential to the seller, and the intermediary keeps both sides' confidentiality. So the answer here is 91B. Intermediary agreement are specifically designed to avoid one-sidedness. Confidentiality to one party would not be acceptable, right? Duties, however, must be spelled out as well as the compensation plan. So the intermediary broker has to keep confidentiality for both parties, not just one. No preferential treatment. On B, it said confidentiality to either buyer or seller, and it has to be confidentiality to both. Okay. So 92. Which of the following accurately characterizes the relationship between brokers and sponsored sales agents? A, the sales agent is required to identify and abide by a loyalty commitment to the broker. B, the sales agent must stipulate what license activities he or she will commit to and over what period of time. C, the broker is obligated to identify and communicate the sales agent's authorized activities. Or D, the broker must delegate all responsibility for delineated activities to be conducted by sponsored sales agents. So it's asking what? Which one following accurately characterizes the relationship between broker and the sponsored sales agent, right? When you get your license, you're going to become a sponsored sales agent. So which one is a true statement of that relationship? You read it wrong. Yeah, we have to read it very carefully. So the answer here is C. The broker is obligated to identify and communicate the sales agent's authorized activities. So that one accurately characterizes the relationship. First one says sales agent is required to identify and abide by a loyalty commitment. No. B, sales agent must stipulate what license activities he or she will commit to and over what period of time. No. Okay. So the sales agent can carry their business however they want. They don't have to be detailed and specific of what they're going to do and not to do and what they're committed to. They're committed to, generating sales. And if they don't, hey, they're not going to be penalized, except for some offices, they might still have to pay a monthly fee or a desk fee or whatever. D, the broker must delegate all responsibilities for delineated activities to be conducted by sponsored agents. No. So the broker is obligated to identify and communicate the sales agent's authorized activity. What are we legally authorized to do? Oh, I already typed the answer in. So 92C. Okay, very good. So the broker doesn't delegate, okay? Look at the word must delegate on D. On B, it says must stipulate. Be careful with little keywords that say must. If they all have must, then one of them has to be correct. However, is it absolute? Must is like an absolute. Not everything is absolute. So here, those two that have the must in it would not be correct. That would be a little trigger keyword to let you know, no. So it's either sales agent is required or the broker is obligated. Okay, number 93. Got it? Okay, yeah, let me tell you, I read it wrong a lot of times, Cindy, so don't feel bad. I've done it in class, okay? And I've typed wrong answers sometimes and stated wrong answers. That's why you all have to also be awake and stay on top of me, let me know, when I make a mistake. 93, this is a two-way street. We learn from each other. Licensees must be compensated according to certain regulations. One of the most important regulations regarding compensation is that A, the sales agent may only receive compensation from the sponsoring broker. B, sales agents must abide by the standard rate of commission prevalent in the local market. C, sales agents cannot receive compensation from sales agents or principals, only other brokers. Or D, sales agents and brokers comply with commission guidelines promulgated by the TREC. So pay attention again to little keywords, must or cannot or whatever. Yes, the answer here is A. The sales agent may only receive compensation from the sponsoring broker. Awesome. Terrific. Number 94. Which of the following is an exception to the must-use rule concerning promulgated? Okay, this is a must-use, but there is an exception. Okay, so A, in transactions where there is no promulgated form, licensees can use a form approved by Texas Real Estate Broker Lawyer Committee. B, in sale transaction where both principal parties insist on using a previously used form. C, in transaction where the principal or the principal's immediate family member is a licensee. Or D, there are no exceptions to the must-use rule. Okay, there are exceptions. Okay, which of the following is an exception to the must-use rule concerning promulgated contract? No, it is not C. Sorry about that, Franklin. Yes, the answer is A. In transactions where there is no promulgated forms, licensees can use a form approved by the Texas Real Estate Estate Broker or Lawyer Committee, or it can be an attorney who draws up a legal document. Okay, because attorneys, the Real Estate Broker Lawyer Committee, those were 13, right? 6 lawyers, 6 brokers, and 1 civilian. If there isn't a promulgated form, then it must be approved by TREC or created by an attorney. All right, 95. Oops-de-doops. The oopsie daisy. Number 95. Which of the following is a violation of license law? We're in Texas, right? License law. A discouraging a seller from hiring an attorney. B, an attorney advising a client on real estate matters without a real estate license. C, using a promulgated contract for a suited purpose, even though it may not be necessary. Or D, refusing to rewrite a contract clause requested by a buyer who couldn't understand it. Which one is a violation of licensed law? That is correct. 95A. So, discouraging a seller from hiring an attorney. These are legal contracts, and a seller or buyer can go to an attorney, right? That's what we advise them to do if they have questions like this person that just asked about, well, didn't say probate, but doesn't know what to do with the money that's remaining. Well, go to an attorney. So the answer is 95A. Discouraging a seller from hiring an attorney is a violation of license law. Okay, so we just did 20 national questions and 20 state questions. Okay. So that's the end of the questions review. So any questions before we call it a day? So any questions, y'all? This is the time to do it. And if I know the answer right away, I'll let you know. If not, I'll have to research it. Okay. So whenever you have questions that you don't understand, go ahead and text me or message me on Facebook Messenger, Wow Lillie Hendy Dominguez, or on here on YouTube. I do reply to all my text messages, all my messages that I get. If not, Google it. Okay, don't spend a lot of time researching something that you can't find in all your thick books, right? Google it, all right? Or go to different sites and find out until you can get an answer. Can you post again? Answer to 94. Yes, so 94. Okay, so Lisbeth is asking that. So 94 was A, or is A. It says in transactions where there is no promulgated contracts, okay. Okay, which of the following is an exception to the must-use rule concerning promulgated contracts? A, in transactions where there is no promulgated forms, licensees can use a form approved by TREC, Texas Real Estate Broker Lawyer Committee. Okay. And Cindy, are you worried about this whole recession for being in real estate market? No, people are always going to buy and sell. We just need to learn how to adjust with the market. No, I'm not worried about it. I started in times where market was bad, which it was considered bad. So bad is on one's mind. People are continuing to buy and sell, okay, real estate, no matter what the market. There may be less buyers or there may be more buyers, okay? In this market, we're going to have less buyers. Why? Because the interest rates have gone up. However, there was a time when I bought property, interest rates were 9%, 10%. We still buy. We find, we adjust. So if we're dealing with buyers, right, then we educate them more carefully. We do more lead generating, more knocking on doors to get sellers, more cold calling, more direct mail. There are different methods to get leads, and we adjust. Okay. Let's see, really not for this. So I will ask something else. Oh, okay. So go ahead and ask. So no, I am not worried about the market. I've been in real estate since full-time, off and on since 2006. So I've been through a market crash of 2007. Some states it started like in 2005, 2006 and 7. In Texas, it started out a little bit later. And then I had moved to Texas in 2011. So foreclosures continued on here. I just developed other expertise in helping sellers prevent foreclosure, helping them with short sales, which is a short sale is negotiating with a lender to accept less than what is owed on the loan. Right now, we had a forbearance, right? And so there are going to be some foreclosures, but it may not have to be short sales. We just have to sell it quick on the market before it gets foreclosed. All right. So Lisbeth says, thanks. You're welcome. Are all the review questions printable? No, unless you can print them from the video, but no. Okay. So I buy the books. I cannot share them with you. There's only one that I do share, and that's because it's from 2006 and it was already online. Somebody uploaded it, and so it's free to the market. All these books that I use, I cannot share with you. Okay. You have to buy your own books or watch videos. Is EXP all virtual? Cindy, yes, we are a virtual company. We're a cloud-based company. Therefore, our office is on the cloud. During COVID, eXp did not lose a beat. We continued on the market because we knew how to do a lot of virtual training and education and helping clients, virtually with Zoom calls and FaceTime and, Messenger and Hangouts and all that. We did a lot of video and virtual open houses also. And so we have access to all our tools virtually. Okay, which, how do you buy a lot of things, even groceries through HEP? You order them on an app and they deliver them. Amazon, you order it online, it's a virtual company and you get it delivered, right? With real estate, we get the contracts and everything delivered via email. With some individuals, we still meet in person. We have access to brokers, training, transaction coordinators, anything that we need, accounting, commission, all that. Learning from top producing realtors throughout the nation and even through the world, instead of just through a particular office building. Okay, we're not limited to learning from just one person or the realtors in one office, because we don't have brick and mortar offices. Some realtors do have a brick and mortar office because maybe they had it before they moved to eXp. And so they kept it and you can go into the office. However, the cost of having a brick and mortar office is probably going to be higher now because there may be less sales. As you asked, we have to change our strategy based on the market changing. Therefore, we want to cut costs, right? We want to cut expenses by not having to drive with the high gas prices nowadays. We can work out of our home and interact with anybody online. You're not going to be alone. You have lots of individuals. Okay, we have lots of resources, lots of individuals available. Zoom trainings, meetings, weekly, daily. Okay, we go into our eXp world. So anybody that wants a 2 weeks guest pass, hey, message me on here, or also on my Facebook page, Lillie Handy Dominguez, or Wow Lillie Handy Dominguez. Okay. And I'll send you a 2 weeks pass so you get an experience of what it's like to be in our eXp world and attend some trainings and education, ask questions, get around to that. This is what the world is becoming, more and more virtual. Okay, how do we watch movies? We still go to the theater, but do you see fully packed theaters nowadays? No, right? A lot of them see us streaming like we are streaming right now. So, with eXp, which I am with, this way, right? I am a realtor and I do practice real estate. I mean, I just wrote a contract on a house that was listed for $400,000 this week. So I'm hoping that it'll get accepted. So I do practice real estate. And so when you're looking for a broker, a sponsor, hey, reach out to me. Let's talk. And let's evaluate eXp together. It may be a solution for you. It may not be. If you require going to a person's office, then that might be the solution for you. If you're not comfortable to working out of your home and doing it online, there are offices we can go to that are, with Regis, but there's not like a whole staff there. And so I'm going to need to send me another one. Okay, Cindy. You mean the 2 weeks pass? I will attempt to do that and see if I can send you a new one. And so ask me questions. You've got to evaluate different sponsors, different brokers to see who meets your needs, because you're going to be getting lots of calls as soon as you pass your exam. And even now, you're going to get a lot of calls, a lot of emails, a lot of texts. It gets overwhelming. Go to somebody that you're going to be comfortable with, that's going to be able to help you, that's going to be there. I love doing this and I help, those that join with me, I become their mentor. And I'm also there even after the mentorship ends, because with eXp, you get assigned a mentor for the first 3 transactions. After that, you're at an 80-20 split. So for the first 3 transactions, we're at 60-40 because you're a beginning realtor. You need to go through training. And then after the 3 transactions, you're at 80-20. And when you sell $2.66 million in real estate, which could be 10 transactions or 12 here in the depending on the area that you're at, right? 250,000 or 350, then you are capped. That means we've already paid EXP 16,000 commission. And why? Every company you're going to go with, you're going to have to pay some commission to the broker. Some charge more, some charge less, but you've got to see what you're getting. We also get other rewards. We get stocks. We're on the NASDAQ, right? So we're a stock. We are owners when we get awarded stock for the first transaction we sell every year. We get awarded stocks with someone that I have attracted that's under me, okay, performs their first transaction. I get more stocks. I get commission from the commission they pay EXP. So EXP can share more money back to us because we don't have the expenses of a brick and mortar office, all the overhead costs, the electricity, the power, and all that. And you save money by not having to drive everywhere. So the world is becoming more and more virtual. It's not going to end, okay? It's only going to expand. So we're a company like the old traditional companies with brick and mortar to a virtual company. You know, who was it? Circuit City. Now we have Amazon, all right? Blockbuster. Now we have Netflix and other type of streaming. So what does that tell you? That it's going virtual. Okay. So reach out to me, ask questions. Okay. I don't push you to join me. I am here to answer questions, and I look forward to having you join with me after you pass, and we will be here for you. And I can mentor you in the state of Texas, or you will be assigned a mentor in another state. You don't have to be in Texas in order to join me. You can be in any of the 50 states or other countries. That's what's awesome. So anyway, we have multiple streams of income that you can benefit from. Okay, if no other questions, then hey, thanks for hanging on. Thanks for studying. That's awesome. Remember to continue practicing your vocabulary and lots of questions and answers. You can buy different books like the ones that I use, or watch my videos and watch along with the books. And sometimes you can get old books, and the national is going to be the same. What changes more is the state. So thank you, Rosaura, Cindy, Lisbeth, everyone that joined, okay? And have an awesome, awesome 4th of July weekend. Stay safe, drive carefully, and enjoy. Okay, until next time, catch you all later. Love ya.